celebrate in that way. And it's terms and conditions, the text, the talk, the takeaway. The text is this: 1 Corinthians 11:28. 1 Corinthians 11:28. Listen, hear the revelation. A man ought to examine himself, I add woman, ought to examine themselves before they eat of the bread and drink of the cup. You already know this text comes out of Corinthians, where there are issues with people coming to the table and have not yet examined themselves. They have infighting. All these things are going on. They have the agape meal before the communion meal, and some folk were eating up the food beforehand. And Paul says to them, look, examine yourself. And then further in it, he said, if you examine yourself, here it is, then you won't have to worry about being examined by God. Because if God examines you, then there's going to be some issues and some trouble. So take care to take your own self-examination, your own test. Now, what are you saying in terms of the terms and conditions? I want to encourage you this morning that in order to have some self-respect, you have to have some terms and conditions for yourself. In order to have some, you have to do, as Paul said, examine yourself so that you might be able to have some self-respect. And check this out. I want you to get something that will make you more powerful than your best excuse. How do we do that? Three things I want to share with you in order that you might be able to reach your best self, to be the leader God has called you to be, to carry out all that he wants you to carry out in the earth, and to fully fulfill your destiny in the earth. Have some terms and conditions for yourself that you might be better than your best excuse. Three things. The first things is this: terms and conditions for your physical self. For your physical self. How often do you exercise? How often do you walk? How often do you climb steps? How often do you not take the elevator? How often do you park far from the mall? How often do you do those things? How often do you say, well, you know what, if it's way over there, I'm not going? How often do you park as further away from the grocery store as you possibly can, so that you might be able to have some terms? What are the terms and conditions for your physical self, that you might be better than your best excuse in your physical area of life? Have some self-respect. You know what Aretha said, RESPECT. Have some, but it starts with you. The second thing I need you to grab this morning is this: have some terms and conditions for your emotional self. Have some terms and conditions for your emotional self. There is a difference between mental health and mental illness, but a slight difference that it is. I want you to get this now. Just like you have to take care of your physical body, and if you don't, it will tell the toll on you. It'll take a toll. For sure it will, if you don't take care of your physical body. If you do not have good mental health taken care, check yourself. We go to the doctor, at least I try to go to the doctor once a year to get myself checked out. How often do we do a mental health check? Because if you don't take care of your mental health, it can turn into mental illness. Hear me. If you don't take care of your mental health, it can turn into mental illness. So you have to have some. What are the terms and conditions for your emotional health, your physical health? Here's the third thing: your spiritual self. Let's circle back to the text. Paul said, look, some of y'all coming to the table and you're jacked up. You're just jacked up. You just don't have it together. And if you don't get it together, he says, it's not going to hurt the Lord's body. It's going to take some hurt on your body. Paul pushes it even further and says, that's why there's some folk that are asleep and sick among you, because you haven't been dealing with your spiritual health. You don't have enough self-respect to take care of your physical health. And how do you do that? Look in your spiritual mirror. When you look in your spiritual mirror, check this out. Then you will see whether I pray enough, whether I read and study enough, whether I serve enough. Yeah, serve. That's right. Serve others. You can't lead until you serve. Whether or not I worship enough, and whether or not I give enough. Am I giving enough? That's right, monetarily. Because my worship includes what I give, both in my demonstrative, in my words, and my life, and how I live with respect to what I have to give. What are the terms and conditions of your physical health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health? How are you going to do that? Have some self-respect and create some terms and conditions this month so that you can go into next month applying those terms and conditions for yourself, for some self-respect. If the Lord be with you today, may his face shine upon you, give you peace. If it blesses you, if this bless you, then make sure you bless somebody else. Don't be greedy. Don't keep it to yourself. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more Morning Manna. Not open mic. I got a word for you. I'm sticking with this terms and conditions. God bless you. Have a great day.